Welcome back, friends and family of the internet and fellow watchers on the wall. You guys, I know most of you have heard about the executive order called the Genesis Act. You guys, I have got to show you something that I literally tripped upon. And I knew right away, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to get this. They're going to see it for what it is. I've got to show them this. It's multifaceted. So let me give you a little history. So the first thing we need to understand is that the Genesis Act is codifying private panopticon through stablecoins. So it's got more to do with stablecoins. And it says here that evoking Trump's stable genius self-description, the Genesis Act ironically entrenches technocratic control, enabling private companies to program money, allowing things like banning Maha's EBT soda restrictions, potentially setting a precedent for conditionally based income, while blockchain transparency facilitates surveillance without warrants. So, in other words, they're going to create the Hegelian, I guess you call it, dialect, where we're going to pit the CBDCs against the anti-CBDC Act, which is resolved in Congress-backed stablecoin, which is going to yield a hybrid nightmare. Private debt fuels government deficits while evading accountability. I know it's a mouthful. It's a mouthful for me. But let me show you what I just found. There's something called the Genesis mission. Now, I want to take us back to the Bible. And I want us to remember what Jesus Christ said. He said, the end times are going to be like the days of Noah. Noah is found in the book of Genesis. Now that I've said that, watch this.
In every age, humanity invents new ways to see further. The telescope let us glimpse the stars. The microscope revealed the worlds within us. For centuries, thinkers like Leibniz, Shannon, and Turing dreamed of making all knowledge computable. But today, knowledge grows faster than our ability to understand it. Trillions of data points, a universe of information still unconnected. Now, a new instrument emerges, one capable not only of observing the universe, but of understanding it. Genesis Mission will transform how science is done in America, uniting our brightest minds, most powerful computers, and vast scientific data into one living system for discovery. Built on artificial intelligence and quantum computing, it will radically redefine the scale, speed, and purpose of scientific progress in America. This is the work that will define our generation's legacy. A new revolution begins, one guided not by competition alone, but by curiosity, imagination, and the belief that discovery is the truest form of progress.
I know it skipped a little. And I apologize for that. Notice where I got this, genesis.energy.gov. I told y'all before, anything that says GOV is a government site. Anything that says EDU is an education site. This is the Department of Energy. Why is the Department of Energy over the Genesis mission? Let's go look what President Donald Trump just signed the other day. This is an executive order that was signed. Now, this you can find at the whitehouse.gov, another government site. Why am I using those as primary sources? I'm trying to show you that this is primary source information. This is coming out of literally the horse's mouth. You cannot misinterpret this. You cannot assume I'm telling you something that is a conspiracy. I am showing you truth. President Trump signed into an executive order something called launching the Genesis mission. I just showed you the video of that, where they're telling you it's a living system and it's an artificial intelligence, cloud based AI singularity. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, it is hereby ordered. From the founding of our republic, scientific discovery and technological innovation have driven American progress and prosperity. Today, America is in a race for global technology dominance in the development of artificial intelligence as an important frontier of scientific discovery and economic growth. To that end, my administration has taken a number of actions to win that race, including issuing multiple executive orders and implementing America's AI Action Plan, which recognizes the need to invest in AI-enabled science to accelerate scientific advancement. In this pivotal moment, the challenges we face require a historic national effort, comparable in urgency and ambition to the Manhattan Project. Remember that, please. The Manhattan Project that was instrumental to our victory in World War II and was a critical basis for the Department of Energy and its national laboratories. So, again, the Genesis mission is going to be pushed through the Department of Energy, and it is based on the Manhattan Project. If you don't know what that is, please don't go anywhere. I'm fixing to show it to you. My name is Samantha Starkey. I'm the owner and operator of a 2-acre farmstead located in Southeast Louisiana. I'm an organic grower. I have small livestock, which I just fed out and hayed up for the cold that is unexpectedly hitting America. For your information, I saw a clip of The Simpsons claiming that in mid-January, we're going to have the hardest freeze that we've had in 100 years. So maybe, just maybe, prepare. I'm just saying, you guys. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Tell me if you've heard about this and what have you heard about this, because it is a lot. First off, the Genesis mission will build an integrated AI platform to harness federal scientific data sets, the world's largest collection of such data sets developed over decades of federal investments. What are they going to do? They're going to train scientific foundation models, which are called OpenAI, to test new hypotheses, automate research workflows, and accelerate scientific breakthroughs. This is hereby established the Genesis mission, a national effort to accelerate the application of AI for transformative scientific discovery focused on pressing national challenges. The Secretary of Energy will be responsible for implementing the mission within the Department of Energy, consistent with the provisions of this order, including, as appropriate and authorized by law, setting priorities and ensuring that all DOE resources used for elements of the mission are integrated into a secure, unified platform. Okay, so let me show you something else real quick. They're going to use AI agents to explore design spaces, evaluate experimental outcomes, and automate workflows. They will include AI-enabled predictive models, simulation models, and design optimization tools. Domain-specific foundation models across a range of scientific domains. Secure access to appropriate data sets, including proprietary, federally curated, and open scientific databases. They're supposed to make sure that it's, security requirements consistent with national security, yada, yada, yada. Don't forget nuclear fusion and fusion energy, quantum information science, and semiconductors and microelectronics. Microelectronics. Where did we hear the other day? Was it Russia that let all the pigeons go with their little AI brain chips? I'm just saying, you guys. Are birds even birds anymore? The Genesis mission is more than a program. It's America remembering who we are. Manhattan Project focus, Apollo level courage, AI supercomputers, and our brightest minds aligned again. As someone fighting every day to stay alive for my girls, this hits different. This is how a nation chooses discovery over decay. The golden age isn't coming, it just launched. Hmm. It's funny how different people see it differently. Because you move down a little further and it says President Donald J. Trump launched the Genesis mission, a national initiative aimed at accelerating scientific and engineering through artificial intelligence. Think Tesla, think Bitcoin, think energy, AI Manhattan Project, think Department DOE Q clearance. 11/11, you say? How did Q know? There's the Q, November 11th, 2019, AI Manhattan Project. Whistleblower, Google is developing AI for planetary surveillance. Project Deep Dream. They want us to simply reach up and pick the fruit again. It is doubly troubling that Trump's next huge AI push after the Stargate project, okay? If you are a member of the channel, you saw the first video I did today. There's an hour and like 20 minutes deep diving this stuff. Is represented in religious language. Calling it the Genesis mission is also likely a nod to Henry Kissinger's last book, Genesis, which, where'd it go? Lays out and advocates for the platform for the AI dimension of the Great Deception. There are a lot of people now concerned that they're going to start using AI to project in the sky things that aren't there. Essentially, getting people to fall down and worship an image of God, but it's not really God. From page 254 of the First and Last Deception. As with the ET deception, so here the fundamental exhortation consists in a plea to reject humanity's unique status as revealed by God in Christianity and instead embrace an alternative and radically contradictory bedrock reality without which the new Genesis cannot arise. While some may view this moment as humanity's final act, we perceive instead a new beginning. The cycle of creation is entering a new phase. That phase may operate under new paradigms of, among other things, logic, faith, and time. With sober optimism, may we meet its Genesis. Thus ends the book. Part 1 of Kissinger's Genesis is entitled In the Beginning. Its last section, Part 3, is entitled The Tree of Life. These authors are among the world's most powerful and influential men. Surely the same great men of the earth, Revelation 18:23, we know to expect as originators of the great deception. And they, like their predecessors, make no attempt to conceal the messianic and pseudo-religious nature of their message. For we know that the Creator in the beginning, Genesis 1:1, made only one man, male and female, in the image of God, Genesis 1:27. But after the fall of man, upon Eve's dialogue with the devil, disguised as an incarnate, non-human intelligence who promised godlike knowledge, God sent an angel to guard Eden, lest man take also of the tree of life, Genesis 3:22. Why? Because God has reserved for himself the salvation of man. Praise you, Jesus. We may never presume to secure it through our own efforts. And the Bible's final chapter at last promises the right to the tree of life. Revelations 22:14, to the faithful. Kissinger's Genesis turns God's Genesis and his revelation upside down. Their plea is simple: pick the fruit again. It is within our power to attain the tree of life, the first and last deception. And here it is. The Genesis mission is launched. Big day for American science and AI. Nothing is coincidental. The new Project Genesis mission will be run by the U.S. Department of Energy and is focused on creating AGI, or the artificial spirit. It's biblical, you guys. Just a few months ago, people laughed when I said that Anime performed the ritual at the pyramids in Giza. He performed the album titled The End of Genesis. The father of the artist of Anime is the billionaire owner Francisco Milleri, the CEO and chairman of Alesser Luxcata. Recently, Alesser Luxcata signed a deal with Meta for smart glasses, which will be a step towards surveillance, data collection, and wearables as control. You will be giving every single data point to train their artificial intelligence. Look at that. Look at that, you guys.
Uniting our brightest minds, most powerful computers, and vast scientific data into one living system for discovery. Built on artificial intelligence and quantum computing, it will radically redefine the scale, speed, and purpose of scientific progress in America. This is the work that will define our generation's life.
Wow. Patriots, wake up. America, listen up. This is not a drill. Trump just signed the Genesis Mission Executive Order. It is the largest federal AI power grab in history. Here are the facts, plain and simple. Genesis Mission equals Manhattan Project for AI. Every federal scientific data set gets fed into one giant AI platform. DOE supercomputers run it 24/7. Private partners are Oracle, OpenAI, Nevada, Microsoft, SoftBank, Goal. Double federal R&D speed in 10 years, total AI dominance. Number two, same week, he signs a second order to kill state AI laws, creates an AI litigation task force inside the Department of Justice, orders lawsuits against any state that regulates AI, threatens to pull broadband funds, BEAD money, from non-compliant states. Commerce Department has 90 days to publish a blacklist of bad state laws. I'm sorry, you guys. I have been having to run my heater and it dries me out. FCC and FTC get told to write rules that override the states forever. This directly violates the 10th Amendment. States have introduced over 1,000 AI bills. California and Colorado laws on bias and risk disclosure are the first targets. Trump's own words on Truth Social: we must have one federal standard instead of 50 state regulatory regimes. The money trail. The Stargate project, 500 billion public-private AI infrastructure. And I showed you in my earlier video today that the Dubai is involved in that greatly. So we've got an Islamic terrorist state involved in the Stargate project. Okay. Genesis Act, programmable stablecoins, backdoor CBDC. Remember what I read to you in the very beginning of this video? If you're still here, then you want to know what's fixing to happen. Your money's going to be worthless. Mm-hmm. Let me find it again. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. Dark Enlightenment architects like Thiel and Yarvin see this as a Sovkarp's triumph, a system where condition-based income enforces compliance and a property dissolves into illusion. Property dissolves into illusion. MAGA's vision of greatness has been hijacked. steering us toward a surveilled grid where sovereignty is a distant memory. As the puzzle nears completion, we must expose it now or be locked into this dystopia forever. Basically, what we're seeing right now, is a regulatory unification signaling a technocratic coup, exploiting the dollar's fragility to erect a new financial order. Where the old system faltered against crypto's chaos, technocrats now impose a regime of tokenized assets convertible into digital units on blockchain, subject to private code that can restrict, seize, or monitor without constitutional recourse. You have seen a push. China, Russia, South Korea coming over to America and buying up our bridges, our infrastructure, our ports, and our farmland. Palantir, remember, I've been doing videos on this stuff, folks. This is why the Lord has been putting these people in front of me and having me deep dive them for you. When I'm talking about Peter Thiel and Palantir, it's not because Sam doesn't have something better to do with her life. It's because the Lord is trying to wake us up. Palantir contracts exploding. Stock went from $51 to $154 since Donald Trump's election. Watch the money, friends. Doge, privatizing federal databases into a Musk Thiel company. Real ID, biometric entry exit at every border, health data shared with big tech. All I can say is, if you've been watching me for a few months, you can see how the Lord led us to here, can't you? Can I get an amen, friends? The end game, one national AI standard controlled by the White House, which we all know is controlled by the Luciferian elites. They pick who they want in the White House. State strip of police power over technology. Every transaction, every movement, and every health record will be tracked by AI. Dissidents will be labeled woke AI and sued or defunded into silence. This is not about beating China. China already has centralized control. Copying them means we lose the Constitution to win a race. Trump ran on draining the swamp. Instead, he just handed the swamp the keys to the most powerful surveillance weapon ever built. If you think this is about innovation and not control, you haven't been paying attention. Wake up. Call your governor. Call your reps. Tell them hands off the 10th Amendment. Because once the feds own AI regulation, they will own everything. And here's the thing. We've seen a push in the past 60 years of the federal government getting into the state business. Your roads don't get fixed unless your state bows down and accepts some nonsense like, pushing the drinking age to 21. Your kids can be in the war at 18, but they can't drink till 21. And being that Louisiana and Florida were the last two states to give in, they withheld billions of dollars in funds to fix our federal and state highways. That's how they do it. That's how they get around. It's all about the money. So eventually, every state is going to bow down. This is actually insane. Just before Thanksgiving, the U.S. casually declared war on slow science. Nobody's talking about it. Genesis mission just dropped. Trump's Manhattan Project 2.0 for AI, quantum, and biology. And the setup is wild. It is supercomputers fused with frontier AI, quantum systems run by AI, every major scientific instrument under one platform, 40,000 scientists, builders, and one network. This isn't better tech. It's speed as a weapon. China is already centralizing. The U.S. just weaponized something harder to copy: national scale scientific data and infrastructure. My bet is whoever builds the fastest R&D engine wins the century. The platform will connect the world's best supercomputers, AI systems, and next generation quantum systems with the most advanced scientific instruments in the nation. And these are all the companies involved: IBM, Google, Future House, Recycling Critical Materials, Cisco, Amazon Web Services, Micron, Microsoft, Nokia, Nevada, Qubit, RTX, Authority, Xlight, Kitware, iOS New England. Yeah. Just in, President Trump signs executive order launching a national AI artificial intelligence initiative modeled after the Manhattan Project. Now let's talk about what Skynet is. If you remember Terminator, I'll be back. Like everybody remembers Terminator, right? It was the first time a movie went global that talked about what would happen with artificial intelligence in a centralized artificial control system, right? Well, Skynet was their operating system, and it is eerily similar to what Trump just pushed through as an executive order. But there is actually a real Skynet, is a robotic telescope network that watches nothing other than the world, the sky. And if you watched my video I did earlier, we know that stars like Wormwood are not actually comets or stars. They're beings that have been named by God with a purpose to destroy. Now, just in case you don't remember Terminator and Genesis, let me show you the official trailer.
John, you can do this. You just go and you don't look back. My whole life I prepared my son to lead humanity in the fight against the machines.
On this night, we take back our world!
But there was one thing I could never prepare him for.
The machines tried to rig the game. Send a Terminator back to the time before the war to kill my mother.
I'll go back. Let me save her.
Come with me if you want to live. Kyle Reese?
You know who I am?
We've been prepping for you to arrive for over a decade.
We. The Terminator.
It is nice to meet you.
I've been trying to teach him to blend in. I know it needs work. John,
Hi, Mom.
how can you be here?
What are you doing?
John!
What have they done to my son?
Survive was what you taught me.
Where is he?
Get out. I'm not machine. Not man. I'm more.
I can't leave him.
Whatever they did to John, we need to reverse it.
Everything's changed. We are humanity's last hope. Load up.
I've been waiting for you.
You gotta get him off me!
I'll be back.
What?
Welcome to part 3 of our discussion of the Nephilim.
All right, guys. There's so much in that. The transhumanism, the going back in time, the Stargate program, the Genesis program, the fact that they're calling it the Manhattan Project 2.0. So for the ones of you who may not be, up to date on this, the Manhattan Project was a top secret US government program during World War II, which aimed at developing the first atomic bombs. It was supposedly, it began in response to the Nazi Germany, which, they thought they were creating nuclear weapons. The project lasted for 4 years and included the US, Europe, and Canada, really the United Kingdom. For being top secret, it employed 130,000 people, and they still kept it secret for like years. It cost $2 billion back then, which would be $28 billion today, to let you know how worthless your money has become in 80 years. The project culminated in the creation of 2 atomic boys, Little Boy and Fat Man, which both were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There's so many other things about the Manhattan Project. I need to do this is also the time that MK Ultra came on. Super soldiers. Guys, this is so bad. It just makes you wonder, what are they developing? What are they developing? Because why would you link it to Manhattan Project 2.0? What is the end game of doing this? I know that, we talk about the 15-minute cities. All that has to be digitalized. All that has to be controlled. So eventually this massive control central hub has to be developed. I get that. And I know that it'll be used by the Antichrist to control people. You will not buy and you will not sell, right? But I do think the fallen angel technology is going to come into play big time here. This guy, I talked about him in my earlier video today. This is James Rink. This gentleman was MK Ultra he was a US soldier through special forces, and he came out and he started talking about super soldiers. He had a conference in Florida, October of 2025, and they hit this man with a DEW that stopped his heart. And yes, they do have that type of weapon now. It mimics a heart attack. I want to show you this little bit of a clip. If they try to copyright me, I'll knock it out, but I'll still link it like I do everything under the title and the description of the video.
Seeks to activate your abilities and recover your soul memories. Reserve your spot now at supersoldiercon.com to support survivors of the secret space program, including those impacted by MyLab's military abductions linked to MK Ultra, Monarch, and Montauk programming. Par ardua ad astra. My name is James Rink, and I like to share with you about an amazing conference that's coming up this October 8th to the 12th in Orlando, Florida. So I'm the founder of the Super Soldier Activation Conference, and we've got about 30 speakers lined up for you, so you're definitely going to want to join us. Let's start off with some quotes that I came up with for this event. So, we know if you won't tell them the truth, then we will. I wanted to set up an event where that, let's look at this UFO disclosure community, right? We have people who are being pushed out into the community as experts, and they're saying, are UAPs real? Are UFOs real, right? And then we have a whole group of people that have been on these UFOs, right? And they're totally being ignored. You don't see coast to coast, right? So we can sit here and argue about that. But the point is, we're going to share with you genuine experiencers who've been out there in the secret space program. So when I put the conference together, I wanted a place where people could not only just have a great time, also want to have healing. So many people have told me, said, James, we could sit here and talk about all these really depressing stories about, MK Ultra, Monarch. I mean, all of that is very depressing. There's not really solutions being put out there. And I wanted to create a solution. So we're going to have a lot of healers there, quantum healers. We're going to do QHHT. I've got a lady, she's bringing in a Tesla coil. We've got people doing a lot of massage work. I wanted everybody to not just come together and be depressed, right? Or some of these stories. I wanted you all to have a great time. And we're going to go to Universal on the Monday on the October.
Now, I don't do all the new age healing. I'm totally on Jesus, but let me tell you what I think. Leslie, the lady that writes a newsletter, like 700 of you get the monthly newsletter. If you'd like to get it, what people normally do is they donate to either Stephen's, expensive almost an expensive medical. It is. And then I get your email and then we send you a monthly newsletter. Leslie does an amazing job. But she and I were talking the other day, and a lot of people believe that they've been taken up on alien ships. I don't think that's alien, you guys. I think 100% that's fallen angel technology. I think that's government. I do honestly believe that they have things that if we saw it, we would say, oh my gosh, that's an alien. If we could see what they're creating in the labs, you and I would be like, oh, that's an alien. But all of it's created here on Earth. We're under a firmament. Okay, so aliens aren't coming in and out, but fallen angels are here with us. And baby, anything that you can think up in your head, we're at a point in history that man can then create it. Being very serious with you. If they can think it, they're at the point that they absolutely can create it. So any nightmarish monster that you can create in your own headspace, there's a lab, a bioengineering, a CRISPR somewhere that can piece part and mill it together. When you are watching things like Stranger Things and the upside down world and kids being used to create subliminal spaces, all of that is real. Months ago, I brought up the fact that autistic children can meet each other in their minds on a place called the Hill. They don't speak with mouths, they speak with their minds. Now, I'm not talking about witchcraft or remote viewing or anything demonic. I'm talking about something these children were born able to do. Now, whether or not that was intentional or that is how they have evolved, given that they're autistic, I don't know. It's not my place to say. I'm just giving you the facts of it is very real. And these kids can meet up and they can do things that generations prior to could not. I honestly believe that is all part of some government program. When Jesus said that people would die of heart attacks out of fear, he meant it. Now, get ready, because we're in that period of time where our young people are going to begin prophesying and dreaming because the Holy Spirit is downloading. We have to be aware of what the government is doing. We also need to be prepared to an extent. In my earlier video, I did a lot of what you need to have. I mean, I spent 15 minutes breaking down what you need to do to prepare. A minimum, you need a small bug out bag in your vehicle. Like a small bug out bag. I'm talking walking shoes, flashlights, and something to keep you warm, start a fire, water purification tablets. Second, start stocking up on medicines that you cannot live without. Make sure you have secondary energy sources for machines that someone in your family cannot live without. Think through, how are you going to care for animals and livestock in the middle of an emergency? Be prepared for the coldest winter we've had in about 100 years. Because, baby, when they put it on the stinking Simpsons, I walked out there last night. I'm like, Steve, watch. So Steve's like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We need to get some propane tanks. I went, right, right. Because maybe when it's on the Simpsons, it's probably fixing to happen. What and how they do that, I don't know. Predictive programming, Luciferian, mumbo jumbo. All I can tell you, friends, as family, is we're at a point where everything is a one big psyop after another, right? Like I told y'all, what was fixing to happen when those National Guards when were shot and the young Sarah died? I told y'all they're fixing to use this to bombard all of us with National Guard everywhere. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that we're in a very topsy-turvy kind of life right now. We've been sold out to technocrats. Some of them actually believe that they're Christians, but their idea of they're going to outsmart God and create utopia in place of tribulation is insanity to me. But they see themselves as many gods. And it makes you wonder how many of them actually carry. You know how the Bible says that they were men of renown? They were basically the strongest, the smartest, the fastest. I believe a lot of these uber billionaires you're looking at that are supposedly so smart, they probably carry a version or a diluted Nephilim blood that causes them to think and create the way that they do. That or they've already sold their souls to the devil and he's just downloading because he has convinced his people that they're going to win. So you and I have to more than ever praise God every time you can. Sing his praises, sing to him, just like Proverbs and Psalms tells you to. Dance, sing, praise, love him, worship him. That is such a huge part of preparing yourself. And please don't forget, the joy of the Lord is our strength. Learn to laugh. Seriously, friends, learn to laugh. I love you guys so much. I hope that this made sense to you. I've done 2.5 hours of videos. I'm exhausted. I've got supper to cook, but I felt like I needed to say something because nobody's talking about this. And I don't know, but all will be back. I'm good. Thank you. No.